July 1st, we're officially in a recession. But the Fed chairman 9 days ago said we're not close to a recession. So what gives? This is the first day of the recession. We are officially now in a recession in this country. No one wants to talk about it. People look at CNBC, right? This is CNBC. The Atlanta Fed GDP tracker shows the economy is likely in a recession, but we need to wait like 6 weeks to actually declare that we are 100% in a recession, not likely. So a recession is defined as 2 subsequent quarters of shrinking, of contraction in the economy. In Q1, you had 1.6% decline, and the Atlanta Fed tracker says the second quarter is running at negative 2.1%. So it's not like, it's looking more positively, it's shrinking less than in Q1. No, this is saying it's looking like it's trending worse. The quarter is now over, but we need to wait for the official announcement before saying that, we're in a recession, gang. Inflation is not going away. They report that inflation is like 8 or 9%. Inflation is probably 20 or 30%. There's no other way. And we called it right for years on this show multiple times that inflation was not transitory, while the Fed kept on saying, don't worry about inflation. This was basically all of last year. There's no logical reason why they would raise unheard of 75 basis point increase and then say, we think we're going to do the same thing again, another 50 to 75 basis points in the next meeting, which is coming up shortly here, right? The only reason why is, the official inflation stats are not accurate, and inflation is actually much worse and much more widespread than actually being reported upon. And I think that's exactly what's happening. I've talked many times on the show about where we see inflation at, because our track record is actually better than the Fed's, which is not a point I'm proud of, frankly, right? Like when the Fed misses this, Applico, my company, we will actually thrive in this chaos. The real problem with inflation and recession and all these things is it hurts the lower to middle income, which there are hundreds of millions of people that fall into that bucket struggling just to put food on the table. And they're the ones, when you print $10 trillion, whose wealth are you erasing? It's theirs. The rich get richer, right? The disparity, the income disparity, the wealth gap gets larger when you print $10 trillion. Inflation wipes out your everyday, your hourly worker, your blue collar worker, right? Their wages aren't able to increase fast enough to keep up with the rate of inflation. It's really sad. And they're the ones that actually bear the brunt of this. And that's when, we like to joke, we called it right. The Fed was wrong. That's the real sad part of this whole story. Actually, hundreds of millions of Americans, middle America, and they're the ones that when the Fed messes up like this, when the Fed wants to print $10 trillion and have everyone kind of be like hunky-dory and, smooth things over and then ignore inflation, which was so obvious. And then now, as a result, they're going to crash this economy like we've never seen before. That's the sad truth. It didn't need to be this bad. It did not need to be this bad, and it's going to get bad. And a lot of this was avoidable, both from a central bank, Federal Reserve, and fiscal. The federal government has not helped us one iota to avert this now recession, which is here, and it's only going to get worse. The institutions that we have set up to help this country, federal government and the Federal Reserve, have not done that. They've actually done the opposite. I actually think they've made this worse than it had to be. I mean, that begs the question, why is Jerome Powell getting another term? No one talks about that. Jerome Powell reinstated. So look at this. This was 9 days ago. Fed Chairman Powell testifies U.S. not at the point of recession in the near term. Does he understand what the definition of recession is? What is wrong with this guy, actually? This was 9 days ago. He says, a recession is certainly possible, but not in the near term. I don't see the likelihood of a recession as particularly elevated right now. 9 days ago, Powell said, no one is good at forecasting recessions very far out. Bro, I'm not asking it for like, what, a couple quarters out? This is 9 days. We're in it. This guy's a fool. Early to mid-May, Jerome Powell confirmed by the Senate for a second term. The Senate voted overwhelmingly Thursday to give Jerome Powell a second term as Federal Reserve chairperson. By the way, in mid-May, we all knew that we had devastatingly high inflation. We all knew that the Fed completely missed the call. It wasn't just the Fed, it was our Treasury Secretary, it was federal government officials, the Fed. Everyone just kind of like tells them these, they just like convince themselves of an alternate reality. So the Senate voted 80-19 to give Powell a second 4-year run. When you look factually at the misses he's already had, and you look at what's about to come, much of it, again, could have been avoided or certainly mitigated. Very sad to see. If you like this video, go check out our videos from last year, where we were saying how inflation was absolutely not transitory, while the Fed was.